Hello, Winter Bakes here, back with a review for you guys. With my first review for Halloween slash Horror 2, everybody. That's right, everyone. Halloween slash Horror has returned. I had a lot of fun doing it last year, one. I'm going to do it again this year. But before I do get the review, everyone, I do want to say, in case you're wondering what I am recording through my phone here, but I mentioned in the last video, everyone, that my iPad been suffering some minor audio issues with my microphone and stuff like that, where a couple times the audio cuts out and stuff like that, and I'm gonna try to see what's going on with that and see if it'll get fixed or whatnot. But for now, I'm just gonna record the videos through the phone. At least the non-gaming related videos through my phone here. So my phone's audio usually works pretty well and stuff like that. But anyway, everyone. That being said, now it's on to today's review, everyone. The first review for Halloween Slash Horror 2, everybody. I'm interested in starting to say the least. I'm going to do a review of a film called Planet Terror. A film that was recommended to me by my good friend, YTP Alert, aka The Memer. Anyway, I didn't really know much about this film going into it. All I knew before, the film that I heard from one of my friends was made by Robert Rodriguez, and I see a good number of his films. He's a pretty good filmmaker, and I enjoy the majority of his movies and stuff like that. To my knowledge, I don't remember him doing like a horror-based movie before. So the idea of Robert Rodriguez working on a horror-like movie was interesting to me, so I wanted to check it. So, not for me to check it out, stuff like that. Hello, if you have me interested in seeing it, stuff like that. Well, everyone, I recently watched the film, and I said, Halloween Slash Horror 2 is off to an interesting start, to say the least. But before I begin the review, everybody, do I have like two quick notifications? In case, as for my usual reviews, there will be some minor spoilers about the film going into this, into the movie, stuff like that. So if you haven't seen the film, do recommend you watch the film first before watching my review and stuff like that. And number two, everyone, is that that everyone, Planet Terror is actually an X-rated film, so so only people above the age of 18, stuff like that, can see it. Definitely a movie that's watch with your adult friends, stuff like that. Not with the family, stuff like that. So just want to make that clear right now. I want to rate the next film. I mean, if you have a party with some friends and stuff like that, you can check it out, but don't show it to the family. Yeah, so, but anyway, with that being said, everyone, now on to my review, everybody. First on the plot synopsis, everyone. Basically the movie's about where members of the military get all this chemical that's best way to describe it is kind of turns people into zombies. For this one crazy biologist who has like a fetish for taking different guys' balls. Yeah, man, it's we literally take their balls, but the gas accidentally gets released and it ends up causing like zombie outbreak in this one town nearby and stuff like that. And over time the characters of the film have meet up and stuff like that. And we get introduced to the film, meet up, and eventually have to fight off the zombie apocalypse and stuff like that. So it's caused by the chemical gas and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the plot out there. Now to my general thoughts of the film, everyone. Everyone, I gotta say, I actually enjoyed this film, everybody. Now, the film got different reactions from me throughout watching, where for example, the comedy bits of the film, I thought they were pretty funny with the jokes, stuff like that. Of course, the action scenes of the film were very intense and very well done. Thought they did a very good job with the action of the film. And although everyone you're probably wondering if it, since this is kind of like a horror-based movie, stuff like that, probably wondering if it scared me or not. But well, everyone didn't necessarily get scared, although the film did have its the moments, different moments where it was like getting different gross out moments and stuff like that, and cringy. I mean, feel yeah. Sorry, cough there, everyone. Something that's excited, but anyway, film had different moments of where I felt grossed out to watch it, and like cringy and stuff like that. Like again with the whole mad scientist biologist guy is finished with collected different guys' balls and everyone about the everyone another thing that the chemical does well sometimes the movie there are some parts of the movie where the chemical gas that turns people into zombies, but it can also does native things to their bodies, stuff like that, like dissolve them and stuff like that. Like there was this one part of the movie where one of the military, like near the end of the film, where one of the military guys who was affected by the virus earlier took off his gas mask and his body was dissolved and stuff like that, and his face had this facial expression like this, and his face was dissolving while having that look and stuff like that, and he vomited out his insides and stuff like that. It was real gross to see, but I feel like that was like the intention for the filmmakers and stuff like that. That's what they were planning to do, the intent and stuff like that. So, if that's what they were doing, then good job, you guys. Yeah, the film definitely got a different reaction on me as I watched it. I did get a good number of enjoyment watching the good amount of joy watching the film and stuff like that. As for the characters, sorry, my rest reflex there. I had something to eat not too long ago, but anyway, the characters, everybody, it's a bit weird to describe, but main. Are the characters film debatable or not, whether they're good people or not? Yeah. Good number of the characters film kind of do act like I see people come to the conclusion. Not a lot. A good number of the characters in the film are kind of like jerks. But for me personally, or one of the actors who were portrayed them and stuff like that, did a good job. Making the characters entertaining, engaging. In the movie while watching the movie, where I made them entertaining, stuff like that, and likable and ways likable and stuff like that, where you may be jerks, but but you're likable jerks. I mean, the best way to describe it, kind of like Eddie from NNA. I mean, people watching NNA know that Eddie's a major jerk, but he's a likable jerk. Since Yes, the writers and the actor who played Eddie, and then they, did a good job making him an entertaining character. It's kind of like the best way to describe the characters, majority of the characters in them, and Planet Terror. Except that it's a live-action movie, and it's a cartoon and stuff like that. So, but still, you guys should get where I'm coming from. But anyway, I really enjoyed the main characters of El Rey and Sherry. They were the two main characters of the film. Everybody, and I enjoyed the relationship. I enjoyed the relationship of I have seen their kind of relationship in movies before, but it's been a little while since I've seen that kind of relationship myself. In different movies, stuff like that. So. Plus, again, the actors did a good job portraying their characters, stuff like that. They maybe engaged in the the characters and stuff like that. Make them entertaining and likable and development some of the characters and stuff like that. So everyone, for the most part, I enjoyed the characters of this film. In the film, so. Anyway, that's pretty much all the stuff, all the big stuff I like in the film. There are, But I did. I will say I did enjoy the film. I do have a couple of problems with the film. Some big ones. Everyone, before I do get to that one, everyone, do want to mention one more thing that there gonna be a couple. Although I don't buy it too much, everybody, I don't buy this too much, everyone, but there's someone that likes to make sure that the world has no logic and stuff like that to it, logic and stuff like that applied to it. Well, they probably gotta get a minor headache from Planetary because there are a couple of moments. There are a couple of moments to film where people just survived random stuff that should end up killing. Like, for example, one of the cops, he literally gets thrown at one of the police cars in the film where the zombies are attacking the police station. And just a few moments later, he managed to crawl and walk up to his feet, stuff like that. And there's also another scene where the nurse, there was also a nurse character, she had a role in the film and stuff like that, where she ended up surviving like a 2 or 3 story drop from the hospital where her crazy psychopathic husband ended up locking her in a closet or something like that in her room. She fell from like 2 stories or something like that from the hospital, and she managed to walk off just fine, even after getting locked up and being numbed from her arms and stuff like that from her husband and stuff like that. But really, like everyone, I feel like those are kind of like small. That's like moments where you just turn off your brain and just experience the insanity and stuff like that, you know. And there's also another part where Cherry, she ends up losing her leg, and she ends up replacing it first she replaced it with a stick, then she replaced it with a gun. And she does some crazy stuff with the gun near the end of the film and stuff like that. Everybody, sorry, called there one. But anyway, again, probably may go. That's not supposed to be happening, but again, everyone, certain moments like that, I feel like you just turn off your brain and just enjoy the insanity going on the screen and stuff like that. So that's what I did with those scenes, stuff like that, those certain moments of the film. But like you said, everyone, now even though I said that's what I was about to get into, everyone, even though I did enjoy the film, I do have a couple of problems with it, everyone. Now, the first and kind of biggest problem with the film is that the first and probably my biggest problem with the film is that it's not necessarily that focused on the storytelling elements. It's definitely one of those movies where story is not necessarily one of its strongest factors. You know, more of a character-focused movie. Because the overall plot of the film is just basically a zombie survival horror kind of film that's been done plenty of times in different other films and stuff like that. Aside from the Cosby and chemical gas and stuff like that, the film doesn't necessarily do much different compared to other zombie survival horror films in terms of the storytelling aspect. You know what I mean? And like I said, this is definitely more focused on the characters. You know, the film definitely focuses more on the characters and stuff like that, rather than the overall story. So for those of you who are looking for a horror film with a strong story to it, you might be disappointed with Planet Terror. And the other big complaint I have for the film is that, for the most part, the villains are rather, are kind of lackluster, compared to the other characters and stuff like that, Maybe, a good example would probably be the main bad guys, the military people, that, for one, they don't get much screen time in the film, not whatsoever, they show up at, the beginning of the film, and they don't reappear till, near the end of the film where they've captured the survivors and stuff like that, they were just, a little bit of the beginning, where the zombie gas, chemical gas stuff spreads throughout the city and stuff like that. And but after that, they just disappear till almost the end of the film and stuff like that. Yeah. And sorry for coughing, get everyone so much sick sad here, but anyway, back to what I was saying here. Yeah, the villains are kind of lackluster villains and stuff like that. And the reason to get a hold of the chemical gas is not really explained that much. I mean, the only a little bit of explanation we get is almost in the film where the general kind of pretty much said that they were doing it for military reasons or something like that to kind of like immobilize armies or whatever or something like that. But still, if you're a guy trying to do that, don't bring your military base where it's relatively close to a town of civilians and stuff like that. And then the other kind of bad guy in the film is kind of like the doctor who was the husband of the nurse. Well, in the film, the nurse and the doctor we shows that they're married. They got they have a son and stuff like that. And the doctor eventually finds out that his wife's cheating on him and stuff like that. But his transition into becoming a bad guy and stuff like that was a weird execution in my opinion. First he shows his wife that a good friend of hers ends up dead, stuff like that. Her friend's head, her brains were literally eaten out, stuff like that. But after that scene, the doctor brings his wife, the nurse, into this room, and he was gonna plan to use the. Now earlier she had there was this one scene where kind of like she used different needles and stuff like that on a guy who was a friend of the doctor and stuff like that, and kind of knock him out and stuff like that, and the doctor he was gonna use that on her, but then one of the people came and one of the assistants came by and said, "Doc, you need to come and see this," stuff like that, and so just a moment, and they kind of postponed that for a little bit. But that was the reason I said it was weird because of his total his tone of voice, the actor, his tone of voice. Well, the majority of the acting is pretty good, but the guy who played the doctor, his acting didn't really have much expression vocal wise and stuff like that. He kept the same tone of voice throughout the entire movie. Where I feel like it really took away the scene where he became all crazy and stuff like that. And tried to kill his wife for cheating on him and stuff like that. Sorry, cough there, everyone. Anyway, that kind of took out the moment, in my opinion. Everyone, well. Just the scene itself was weirdly executed. I could get to him being upset for the nurse cheating on him, but I don't think that. But that shouldn't be enough reason to try and kill her and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And that storyline of the film it's kind of an on-off thing. Something like that. So, and anyway, kind of like last major complaint of the filler was that this does kind of tie back into. Sorry everyone again with the minor acid reflexes, but anyway, does kind of tie back into problem number one I had with the film, and the storytelling of it. They have a strong story, but in the film, But you would think, at least think that the film would tell have decent, have like, decent pacing in terms of tell the story, even though it's not made. The story's not necessarily that made with focus. Well, for the most part, the film does a decent job with the pacing and stuff like that. But then, and like the 2/3 the way mark, I believe, they just randomly have oh, they have this cut. They have this awkward cut happening where everyone there they forgot to mention the film is at well, at least for the version I saw. I don't know if it's different from other people's version, but the film was kind of had a you know how there's those sometimes the older films where little spots, little black spots come up on screen and stuff like that. Like older movies of film had that going on, trying to make it. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was an interesting decision on the filmmaker's part to do that. So doing some little different cinematography wise or screen wise with the film and stuff like that. But like I said, like the 2/3 of the film has this very awkward cut where Cherry and El Rey are going to we're going to be a little bit busy in bed, if you know what I mean. But then it just randomly, then the screen just kind of goes about sorry for technical difficulties with the film. Sorry for the inconvenience or something like that on the screen. And then it just randomly cuts back to JT's barbecue place where it's all been fired and stuff like that, and all the characters are suddenly there and stuff like that. Fighting back against the zombies. And I thought that was, and don't be trash on the film writers or anything like that. They did a good job for the most part in terms of the writing department of the film, but I thought that was just lazy on their part. I mean, they could have done something to. Get all the characters meet up in one place, stuff like that. And not have that awkward jump cut in there, something like that. Because when I mentioned this back in my review when I reviewed the Ghostbusters 2016 reboot last year. It had the same problem where it randomly jump cut at different moments and stuff like that. Where like there was supposed to be some kind of like felt like there was some kind of like important moments happening and stuff like that. And just leaves questions for and stuff like that. I will say that cut's not as bad as. We'll say that the jump cut in Planet Terror is not as bad as compared to the ones in Ghostbusters 2016, but nevertheless, it still has the same outcome. When filmmakers do that, it just leaves. It's got to leave the audience asking questions and stuff like that, and you have to at least have some explanation of how this happened and how the characters meet up and stuff like that. I say this film they could have at least explain. I mean, it didn't have to be a super long scene or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but it wouldn't have hurt them to have like a little scene, showing all the characters meet up and stuff like that. Gathered up at the same place. Instead of just having that awkward cut, I just felt like that was a little bit lazy on the writer's part, in my own personal opinion, would so. Anyway, that pretty much concludes my general thoughts of the film. Time for my final verdict, everybody. And anyway, while I do think there were some major problems with Planet Terror, I do feel like I still really enjoyed the film. It definitely has a lot more positives than negatives. Well, the story itself's not necessarily the strongest asset. Sorry, sir, there would. Like I said, but the story may not be the strongest element of the film, and there were some. some areas are a little weak. Some of that, I feel like this got more positive, way more positives than negatives. Where where I feel like the film accomplished what it was trying to be. And enjoyable, kind of horror film and stuff like that. Definitely, definitely gave me a lot of different reactions. Like I said, from the exciting action scenes and laughing at the comedy and stuff like that, and also having me grossed out in the different grossed out moments, stuff like that. And I enjoyed the majority of the characters of the film. So, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them. Playing Terra, and I think it'd be a good film to watch around this time of the year, everybody. So, although again, it is a rated X filler one, so only those of you who are 18 and over can see it. So, and don't show it to your family if they can't handle that kind of stuff. So, but if you don't mind that kind of stuff, everyone, then you'll have a pretty good time watching. You'll have a pretty good time watching Playing Terror. And what time for the final verdict, everybody. Those of you who are new to my reviews, I usually have 500 scores. With my highest being a must buy, must watch, which goes to the best films, which is pretty much my highest score I give to movies and stuff like that, movies and TV shows. Then there's the buy its rating, which is my second highest, which is not necessarily the best, but still enjoyable to watch. Then there's the middle ground rating, which is the extremely less rated. Where pretty much goes to films where I do feel like they're not bad films. I don't know if they're... I wouldn't necessarily consider them good enough to have in your collection. And then there's my second lowest rate, which is the endurance rating, which... Sorry, call there one, but... second one, my second lowest rating is the endurance rating, where it goes to films that aren't necessarily the overall worst I've seen, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend people watch it, stuff like that. Wouldn't necessarily recommend someone to watch it. Then there's my lowest rating, which is the Let It Burn rating, which goes to the absolute worst pieces of entertainment I've seen. So, and that's pretty much the lowest score I can give to a form of pieces of entertainment, stuff like that, everyone. So, and my final verdict for Playing Terror will be a buy its rating. Again, it has some major problems to it, but it's an overall enjoyable film. I do think it's a good time. Good time to sit through something like that. Enjoyable film to sit through. A good movie to watch, in my opinion, to watch around this time of the year, stuff like that. Especially if you're a big fan of zombie films. So, well, anyway, this pretty much concludes this review, everyone. It pretty much concludes the first review for Halloween/Horror Month, everyone. Next time, everybody, I will be reviewing. My next review will be on a TV show, Ruby Gloom. So make sure to stay tuned for that, everyone. And stay tuned for more reviews happening during the month of October here on the channel, everyone. So I said, her big sign out.